Hello, my friends. I'm your host, Samantha, and welcome to the Sedge Circle podcast. How are you today? I hope you're well. Just a quick reminder, if you enjoy this podcast, don't forget to click the like and subscribe button so you don't miss any episodes. I try to upload new episodes every Friday, so if you don't see me in your notifications, you can always check back then. Now, on with today's show. Today I thought I would try something a little different, a little less scripted. I usually run some kind of script when I'm doing podcasts because I don't want to forget or leave something out. But today, I thought we might just have a little chat. As I've said in the past, most things I cover in my podcasts are things that I am either directly experiencing or am just giving some thoughts to. And it might be something someone else is experiencing. There are two things that happened to me this week that inspired me to make today's episode. The first thing that happened was I was visiting my favorite occult store and I was talking with the owner. I leaned in and told her quietly, "I think I'm a pretty boring witch." She asked me why I thought that. I said, well, it's because I don't really cast a lot of spells. I don't usually have an elaborate altar set up, and I'm very, dare I say, basic with my witchcraft. And I was relieved when she said that she also did not cast a lot of spells. And she's the owner of an occult shop. But she expressed to me that she would rather work on manifesting or doing internal spiritual work, to which I fully agreed. The next thing that happened was Beltane night. On Beltane night, I was trying to think of something to post in honor of the holiday. However, Beltane is not a holiday that I usually do much on. I might light a candle, burn some incense, and just do some meditation. Usually I reserve those moments for connecting with the current season. And usually I end up saving my big celebrations for the solstices and equinoxes. Those are usually grand events, celebrated with friends and family. We have a fire, some kind of potluck, and of course, work some kind of witchcraft into the celebration as well. For example, on the spring equinox, we burn our Yule tree. And on the winter solstice, we all gather together and pass a mead horn around to tell stories or sing songs. I probably do more on the new and full moons than I do on some holidays. Living in harmony with the moon cycles is one way I keep track of my own personal growth and goals. On the new moon, I'm usually going over what my intentions have been and releasing anything that I might be carrying that I don't need to be. And on the full moon, I offer myself a little time for celebration, as well as charging any items or even myself under the light of the full moon. These two things got me thinking about my own witchcraft journey. When most of us set out on our path, we're usually very interested and what kinds of fun spells we can do. We want to know just how far our power can take us. But I've noticed over time, at least for me, my witchcraft has become so integrated into my life that I hardly notice it anymore. That's not to say that I don't do spells. I do. But it's actually pretty rare. Most of my witchcraft is simply giving offerings and doing meditation. And of course, nature is at the absolute heart of my craft. Forming a working relationship and a strong bond with nature has been the most helpful thing in my life. When I've experienced times of loss, I turn to nature to remind me that loss is natural. I'm reminded that it's okay to feel sad, but that nothing has been done to me that could be considered a personal slight. It's just the cycle of life. I turn to nature when I'm having a hard time and need a reminder that things are constantly turning and that the storm I'm experiencing will in fact pass at some point. And I turn to nature when I'm feeling particularly insecure about my physical self. I remind myself through nature that my body is an expression of nature, and it is beautiful in its own way. All these things and more are a part of my craft and have impacted my life so profoundly that I can't imagine it without them. The whole point behind me creating this podcast and having a public online presence is because I know the value behind being truly connected to nature. After my original account was hacked, I was prompted to come up with a new name. And there I landed on the Sedge Circle. The symbol for Sedge Circle is a bind rune and a combination of the runes Algiz and Odala. Algiz is associated with the elk, with its strong antlers reaching up to the divine. And Odal, or Odala, is our inheritance. These two runes combined create a symbol that to me represents humanity's birthright as spiritual beings connected to nature. If you look at this symbol, you will also see that there are a few circles surrounding it. One of the circles is made up of small dots representing each of our ancestors. The solid circle is the unity of all these things. As I've said many times before, I believe that so much can be healed through nature. And that's not to say that life thousands of years ago was perfect by any means. But it was certainly more in tune with these natural cycles, as it had to be. And spells are but one way to connect to these cycles, these energies, and to bring them into your own life. I know I've also said multiple times in the past, but I think there is a common misconception as to what witchcraft is, or more so not what it is, but the scope of what it can be. For me, my craft is subtle and something that I've worked into my everyday life. But this is just my version of witchcraft. And this is how, over the years, I've come to understand it. It is how I use it in my daily life. And it doesn't matter to me that it doesn't look like someone else's craft. I'll admit that sometimes, because it is so subtle, it makes it hard to express it on social media. There isn't a lot of setting up fancy photos or anything like that. It's just me doing, as I said to the occult shop owner, boring things. And I should be clear, I don't necessarily think that I am boring as much as I am lacking in flair compared to some others. But I am also fine with this. I think we need all kinds. I think we need to see the rituals, and we need to see the solitary walks on the beach. Each one is valid. But today, I just thought I would share my experience as a whole on being a witch. And it has nothing to do with what I think anyone else should do or not do. Again, as I said, this is a little less scripted than normal. Just a chat. And because this is just a chat, I would really like to hear your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Do you find that you have consistent rituals? Or are you more subtle with your craft? I'm very interested to know. So I suppose that's about it for today. I hope all of you have a wonderful weekend, a happy full moon, and until we meet again, my friends, I bid you all a very fond farewell.